As we've been hearing, a man suspected of killing a BBC commentator's wife and 2 daughters has been found after a manhunt in London. Police believe the attack was targeted, carried out with a crossbow.
If you're aged over 18, it is legal to buy or possess a crossbow without need for a licence. Anyone found carrying one in public without reasonable excuse could face 4 years in prison. And, of course, they can be highly dangerous. But attacks with them are rare.
The Home Office says crossbows were used in 10 killings between 2011 and 2021. A review into crossbow laws was launched by a previous government. And now the new Home Secretary, Vet Cooper, says she's swiftly considering the findings to see if legislation needs to be tightened.
We're joined now by campaigner Laura Sugden, whose partner Shane was killed in their home after a crossbow attack in 2018. Good morning.
Morning.
For obvious reasons, we here at the BBC are very shocked because this is one of our colleagues' families. Regardless of who it is, this is a shocking incident. And I don't know how you would have felt yesterday when you saw this news unfolding after Shane had been killed. What was it like?
It sort of brings it all back home again, you know, just highlights it. And, you know, sort of feel for their families because, you know, the road that they're about to go on is absolutely horrendous. Just felt desperately sad for them and, yeah, just really sad to hear something like this has happened again.
I think it's important that our audience understands why you are now a campaigner. Obviously, Shane was killed, but you were also injured when you were attacked, and it was someone who was a neighbour.
It was, yeah, my next-door neighbour, back in 2018. So, yeah, he basically came into our property, removed the dividing wall in the loft, and was waiting in my daughter's bedroom when we returned from having a meal. Sadly, he shot Shane, and Shane died due to his injuries. I was 20 weeks pregnant at that time with our daughter. But yeah, she luckily she was fine. I was shot in my head and my neck. And you still have part of an injury, don't you? I do. Yeah, I'm actually due to have surgery in a week's time to have the bolt removed.
This is 6 years on.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously physically, you know, after the surgery, like things will heal, but you know, mentally, just horrendous. You know, it's still now.
Is it? You were talking about the journey that John Hunt's family is going to go through. You look at your daughter. She's six now?
Yeah, 6, yeah.
And who never met her dad?
Yeah, just, you know, sort of every sort of milestone with Ella, you know, like from walking, talking, starting school, all them things have been extremely, you know, the happy times, but they're also, you know, filled with a lot of sadness. That's something that a dad's never gonna be able to see. And also for her as well. You know, so for that to happen of yesterday's loss of 3 family members is just unthinkable.
Laura, you've been through terrible times. You must have had so many questions yourself, some of which may have been answered in court, I don't know, about how it was that someone, in this case your neighbour, had a crossbow, or more than one crossbow. What do you know about that? Because obviously there are a lot of questions being asked now about who can own one, how can they get one? What do you know about what happened in your situation?
Obviously, when this happened, I didn't even know what a crossbow was. You know, and sort of slowly started to realise that obviously he had obtained 3 crossbows, and he had tampered with the bolts on them to make them more lethal. Obviously, like now I know. I obviously didn't at the time that he's just gone onto the internet and purchased them online. There is no legislation around crossbows whatsoever, so there's no sort of identification. You know, anybody over the age of 18 can purchase them. But I have known people to purchase them and not even be asked for identification, which is absolutely terrifying.
In a shop or online?
Online. You know, so anybody that, you know, just goes online and orders one, they don't necessarily have to identify as send any identification.
Just trying to work out, because I know you campaign on this, Laura. If you could mandate now for what restrictions there should be over purchasing of crossbows or ownership, what would that be?
I would like to see them brought in line with firearms. So the same, like police checks, medical checks done. Obviously, when you own a firearm, you have the police attend your property to make sure it's in a locked cabinet. These weapons are just as deadly. You know, they're so dangerous. And I really think the government now need to be looking at what to do next.
Can I ask you, Laura, I don't know what direct contact you've had with the Home Secretary in the past. Obviously, we've got a new government now. But what reason have you been given that that should not be the case? Because a lot of people, you know, hearing what you've said this morning will think, yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Why not do that? Have you heard a reason why they would not do that?
Not sort of a particular reason. I think one of the things, obviously, initially was that they believed that the statistics were quite low. You know, that's basically what they said in the beginning. That was before, obviously, they started the call for evidence and did start the review. You know, my opinion is that two people's deaths via a crossbow is too many. You know, it needs looking at. You know, 3 people yesterday lost their lives. Something needs to be done. They need to bring some legislation in.
When you say low, yeah, the Home Office has said there were fewer than 10 killings involving crossbows between 2011 and 2021. One's too much, obviously. One's too many. And then there was also that review ordered by Priti Patel, she was Home Secretary. This is after someone broke into Windsor Castle, people will remember, with a crossbow. So that sparked off. But it's taken time, I suppose. Are you getting... In terms of the law, ultimately, what would you've said absolutely the same as firearms, licences, home checks, just more rigorous. If someone deems it necessary. I mean,
I've obviously spoken with the Home Office over the last couple of years since obviously they started the review, and nobody knows how many of these are in circulation. Obviously, there's been things. You know, they've looked at statistics. They've looked at clubs where they have crossbows, but the number of people registered at the clubs, you know, it doesn't match the amount of people that actually have them. What are people using them for? What is the need for them? Obviously, what I'm trying to do with my campaign is get some legislation. People that use them, you know, for sporting events or are part of clubs. What I'm trying to do isn't going to change that. They're still able to do that.
Can I ask you, Laura? There is a new Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, are you seeking now, given what we've seen yesterday, would you be seeking to have direct talks with her?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. I think, obviously, the change in government, I've had a lot of support from Labour MPs. I think the change in government possibly has been a good thing, and I'm hopeful, to be, you know, I want to have, a conversation with her to, you know, see where we go from here.
But aside from the kind of political issue, as in Conservative or Labour, my question really is, would you wish to sit down with her so that she understands firsthand how it affected you and the implications?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can look in a newspaper and you can read a story and hear a story and think that's terrible, but to sort of have a conversation with somebody directly that's been impacted by it, I think that's powerful.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know it's not an easy thing for you to talk about, Laura. Thank you so much.